Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another 3D Hangouts with myself, Noe Ruiz. Joining me every week, my brother Pedro.
What's going on, everybody?
What's up,
I'm Pedro Ruiz, creative tech here at Adafruit, and every week we come to share 3D printing projects combining components from Adafruit.
That's right. This is a show where we take a look at
1 year.
combining 3D printing and DIY electronics to make cool, inspirational projects. We've been doing this for a year, apparently. We're celebrating our 1 year anniversary. We started just about a year ago in August.
So that's how long we've been doing the show.
Yeah.
We've actually been doing all
Projects.
the weekly projects for about 2 years,
About 2 years.
almost. So
Yeah.
this is the only weekly project-based 3D printing show, because honestly, there's no real way you can actually make money off of this just giving away 3D printed products, because all the money comes from all the components that live inside of it. So we don't take any venture capital. We don't, we're not VC funded. We make this because everybody buying stuff. So every week
folks.
we have an awesome discount code for you guys. It's the only way really to get the cheapest 3D printer prices on the net. Something like the very cool new Ultimaker 2, which is what, $24.99. You can get 10% off, free shipping. Just enter the code ICOSAHEDRON during checkout, and you also get free delivery on that. Every week, always have a very cool discount for you guys, and of course, doesn't work on gift certificates or software, but on all the 3D printing paraphernalia, and of course, electronics to bring your projects to life. So definitely check that out.
Okay, very cool. Thank you guys for hanging in there with us this whole year. Let's start off the show with our segments. We're going to start off with, what are you prototyping?
That's right. Every week we have a lovely assortment of segments. What are you prototyping is when we take a look at behind the scenes, some of the in-work projects for a feature episode.
Okay, layer by layer.
That's when we take a look at some of the CAD techniques that we use to build all of our projects.
We'll do a shop talk.
This week we're going to be taking a look at some cool new goings-on in the shop.
And then we'll do some Q&A for you folks.
That's right. Every week there's a bunch of questions. We have answers for you guys. If you have any questions, just leave them on any of the videos and we'll answer them in a future episode.
Okay, let's take a look at the overhead. Pedro, this is your project. It's upside down. This is a project you're showing us last week.
Yeah, so last week we took a look at this 10-inch, it's actually 10.1-inch IPS display, and we combined it with a Raspberry Pi. So it's an all-in-one. We have the very cool, awesome Kano OS running on this. All the talk of Windows 10 coming out, and then, the realization that, oh, it's just a picture of a Raspberry Pi IP address and a shell that let you write programs for an ATM. So this is a lot more animated, live. There's like a cool web browser on here, and this is specifically made for kids.
Okay.
Yeah. But the cool thing about this is that they did a ton of work to get all of the, to get away from having a command line and actually have a nice GUI interface to this. So you have a cool little browser on here. It knows how to detect everything. It has a cool little updater. It looks like what everybody thought Windows 10 would look like. So if we take a look at the back here, we have an open case. We have the Raspberry Pi 2. We have the display driver for the 10.1-inch, and both of them have their own 6600 milliamp hour battery to give you over 3 hours of power. Haven't completely tested it yet, but you have a nice long portable a little desktop computer. We added the cool little logo on here, so we have the cover on here. That's what it looks like, akin to like a cool little MacBook. So very cool there. People wanted to see that on there. And of course, you can customize this to have your own little company logo or whatever on there. We have access to all of the, like the SD card, and you can even put a little Raspberry Pi camera on here. Very cool. And of course, all the solid files will be released next week when the project launches. And you even have very cool, the source file has like the hinges, so you can turn this into a laptop. All you have to do is design the little part for the keyboard. And you can have yourself a, very slim, compact little desktop computer. So you have access to all the ports on here, and of course, for recharging both of the batteries on here. And this is, pretty cool little slick computer that can fit anywhere. Of course, you can run RetroPie on here and game away. And this is one of the biggest Pi builds that we've done to date. Very cool.
Sure. The Type A machine has a 305 millimeter cubed build volume, so that's what you use to print all the parts.
Yeah.
Okay.
So very cool. We'll talk more about this. We'll take a look at the layer by layer in next week's episode. But
okay,
very cool. Jump back over to last week's project. We did a couple of updates to that.
Sure.
The D20.
I was going to show the dual tone.
Oh, let's show the dual first.
No, you got this one here. So
yeah,
let's put them both.
Okay.
Just as a scale.
So comparing the dual printed little D20 to a ginormous jumbo
Sure.
D20.
Let me talk a little bit about the dual. So this is a really good test, just to sort of see how well we can calibrate the dual extruders on our FlashForge Creative Pro, the back over there. So we're just sort of stress testing to see if we can create something that's really clean and nice. And well, we created something that's really, really nice. It took a couple of different tries, but it turns out using the ooze shield in Simplify 3D works really well.
That's the way to go.
There's a couple of things that you have to do, like set the offset for it properly, and
the retraction and the speed.
Yeah.
Was some of the things that we had to spend some time in figuring out.
So what we'll do is we'll come up with like a guide that'll take a look at some of the different dual extruded projects that we have. This is like the fourth one now, so that's a really good test. One of the things to note is we found that using the nozzle that's closest to the active cooling fan works well, since there's a lot of overhang on this. Well, not a lot of overhang, but there's a good amount of overhang. You want to have that extruder print out the main gray area, and then have the other side print out sort of the details. So it comes out really nice. Uploaded it to Thingiverse. Of course, it's two different separate files. You have the D20 and then the numbers, so they're separate, and then you bring them together in Simplify 3D in your slicer. So we'll talk about more of that in the coming weeks. And then next to it, this is the massive jumbo D20. So this was printed on the Ultimaker 2, where we're testing just sort of reliability and build volume, like how big can we print it, and is it reliable enough to print? Well, it totally is. It took 30 hours to print this. It is 195 millimeters cubed. So a 30-hour print. This is actually 416 grams in weight. It's about $20 in material. The infill is about 4%, and just a little interesting 58,000 millimeters of filament length. So that's pretty long. So yeah, again, we're just testing the Ultimaker 2. Sort of a good test for reliability. It's really good quality, and overall has a really good user experience for the printer. We didn't have any problems. The only fail that we had was because we didn't have enough filament. It came with a spool of filament, a nice metallic gray PLA, and we went through that pretty quick. So if you're gonna print yourself a jumbo D20, I would say
just make sure you
have a brand new spool of filament and weigh your filament. If you have like half of it, you're gonna need about 416 grams.
Yeah.
It's
again,
pretty cool. It's like a lawn Dungeons and Dragon D20.
Yeah, there's lawn chess. Now we have lawn D20.
Whatever. I think it's just a fun trophy item. You don't want to bang it around too hard. It could definitely get damaged.
Definitely can damage this.
Two hands to roll it, of course. But yeah, it goes well with like an oversized like 555 timer chip that we have.
So we're thinking that the optimal printing material to do this with is going to be probably semi-flex.
Yeah, so this would be really nice in semi-flex. Definitely semi-flex over NinjaFlex because it's got a little bit harder material and it handles the overhangs really well. And another note is that this actually has this printed with no support material, so there's a little bit of problems, but you really don't notice it that much, especially with the scale of this thing. But I think printing it in a different material, like TPE material, you could throw it around and it'll actually bounce, so that'd be kind of cool. And you could squish it too. But this is what we had. Of course, this is 2.85 filament for the Ultimaker, and pretty cool.
Very awesome, yeah. We'll be actually looking at upgrading it to a 1.75 in a future episode, so definitely stay tuned for that one.
Very cool. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into the next segment. We're going to do layer by layer. This is going to be on the D20. So let's take a look at our CAD stuff here. So I have this week for you guys a layer by layer on how to create the icosahedron shape in 123D. So you can check that out now. That's this week's project and layer by layer. But just a sneak peek of next week's layer by layer video. So we're going to take a look at getting the components inside of Fusion 360 and sort of orient them, and some things to take into consideration when creating a project with a bunch of different components. So it's running a little slow here, so you have to bear with me. But basically, I just want to show you guys what the components look like inside of Fusion. So if you take a look here, you can see all the boards and stuff. It's 2 halves. Wow, it's really slow. Sorry about that, folks. But we'll try to clean this up. So one thing to note when you're designing components, you want to design around the components, of course. So the biggest board in the whole thing is the audio effects board in the Pro Trinket. So you get those measurements and you sort of design around that. Another thing we need to take into consideration is accessibility. Can we access the ports? And we needed to have the USB ports in close proximity so that we can recharge it and reprogram. So that's why they're oriented that way. And you can see there's the standoffs are like sort of protruding through the shell of the object. What we do is we have that there so that we can move it around if we need to, and then we just do a split solid to cut out all the excess material. And we did a lot of sort of prototyping on different orientations, different positions of the components. And we found the best way to do it is to have boards stacked up on top of each other. So what made sense is the Pro Trinket is on top of the accelerometer, and the audio effects board is next to the component that's missing. The amplifier right there. Woo. So there's the amplifier, and there's the accelerometer. And by having them stacked on top of each other, you can sort of save on wiring and just a nice compact little design. And then we have the extra room here for the battery and the slide switch, which is hanging out there. The only component that's hooked up to the other part is, of course, the speaker. Want to note that Phil B actually put together the numbers. He painstakingly oriented all the numbers in the right order, so it's very exact to a real D20. And the speaker holes here make it so it's louder. And the only component that's mounted here is the speaker, which is right there, or at least the cavity for it. The way the speaker is mounted is it has this cool little sort of cavity thing, holder, and there it is there. And so the thing just snaps in there. And you can either hot glue it into place, or if you have the right tolerances, it'll fit perfectly. So that's about it. That's this sneak peek of the Lair Belair. A lot of work went into this one. Nice collaboration with Phil B, too, so shout out to Phil B. And if you haven't yet, check out the guide and the video. It's on the Adafruit Learning System, D20. Yeah, man, pretty cool.
Very awesome.
Let me switch back over here, folks. We'll switch to this guy. Hopefully we're not upside down. Yay! Woohoo! Okay, let's do the next segment. That was Lair Belair. I guess it's safe to talk the shop talk next.
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump into this week's shop talk, which we take a look at some new products in the store. First, we're going to take a look at Ultimaker.
Ultimaker, yeah.
So this is a little time lapse of printing the Jumbo D20. This took about, did this take?
I've been saying it for over
34
and over again.
hours?
No, 30 hours.
30 hours.
Yeah. So it was challenging in the sense that we had to not hit the tripod. And you'll see like the light changes because the night turns into day. And we can't have the lights on all the time. So you can see the bezel. But one cool thing,
it is a stress test of the printer.
Yeah, and I just want to say the cool thing about the Ultimaker is it's got lighting, consistent lighting. So
yeah,
the
looks like
part,
a softbox.
Yeah, the part is going to stay illuminated even when our lights turn off. You can see on the side of the bezels there, it's changing. But overall, really, really good time lapse. Good stress test, because you were saying no support on here, only 4% infill. And it printed at 50 speeds, 50 millimeters a second.
So it could have gone up to 90 millimeters a second, but we wanted to make sure that
it's default Sakura, yeah. But this was not sliced with Cura. This was sliced with Simplify 3D.
Yeah,
just throwing that out there. And it came out really well. You can see the overhang there on the 7.
Yeah, as far as camera settings, it's I liked it because you're able to set it at I think it was 50,000 Kelvin to compensate for the bluish tint that you get with the LEDs that they have on there. And then it was I think it was every 3 minutes for the interval for taking the photos to create this time lapse.
It was because it's a 30-hour print. It still ended up with too many photos.
But that's what you use the speed ramp inside of Premiere for.
Oh yeah, sure.
So very awesome stress tests to see if the Ultimaker could handle day print, and it came out beautifully. Like you said before, the only fail that we had was running out of filament. And we didn't use the heated bed for this one, but we totally could have. Yeah. There wasn't any lifting on it, and as you can see here, it was a on the blue tape. Very nice.
Yeah.
The way it's stuck on there. Of course, we use the very wide blue tape that we have in the store, so it's 6 inches as opposed to some of the others that are like 4 inches long or whatever.
Right, yeah.
So that really helps in keeping warping down to a minimum and having the tape completely come off.
Yeah, I was surprised that there was no warping on this part, so you can really tell on the bottom of the print that there's no warping. It came out really well.
Yeah. Of course, we shot some slow-mo footage of this, so you could check out on Noah's Instagram.
Oh,
I think I got one.
You got an Instagram of things printing in the air, which is remarkable.
So because of the 2 fans on the side for the nozzle, it's why you went printing with this without any support material, because it can do that. And it's a very awesome feature of the Ultimaker.
Totally.
So definitely check that out. Again, you can get 10% off. I think we have, one in stock.
Yeah.
Still, we sold out of these pretty quickly last week. Yeah. So definitely pick one up.
Yeah. ICOSAHEDRON. That's the shape, folks. It's a polyhedron. 20 face.
Again,
equilateral triangles.
Again, you'll get free shipping on this as well. So definitely check that out on any of the printers that we have in the shop.
Yeah. And let us know if you print a massive jumbo D20. We'll definitely talk about it and share your experiences with it. Okay. Other things.
Got some other cool stuff in the shop as well.
Go ahead and tell me which one so I can cue it up.
Let's take a look at Proto Pasta.
Okay. Here's Proto Pasta.
We got their conductive filament. We already did 2 projects. It's coming in the store really soon. They have another very cool type of material that they sent us for testing, and I think we're going to carry it as well. This is very awesome new stuff.
Overhead.
It's magnetic iron. So
that's what the filament looks like. It's 175.
And the cool thing about this is that it's attracted to metals. So to make it clear, it's not a magnetic itself. It just is attracted to magnets, which is really cool since we can dual print this with other types of materials, and very cool characteristics of this is that it can rust as well. So here so we're going to try doing the post-processing techniques, which involves a mixture of salt, vinegar, and hydrogen peroxide. So we're going to be trying that on a future episode. I just wanted to show you guys the magnetic abilities of this and the awesome characteristics of this.
Is this the, okay, cool. So we have 2 different parts for you folks. This is, of course, a D20, but one is polished and the other one is not. Of course, tell me how long this took to polish and what you used to polish it.
Okay, so we ran this through the tumbler like we normally run the bronze and copper fill filaments. One thing to note is that this was in there for about a day. And
24 hours.
24 hours, a little bit over. And when compared with something like the copper or bronze fill, that is enough time to have a beautiful shine on this. Okay. This only has a little bit of metallic sheen on it, very slight. It didn't get rid of all of the printing layers on there, as you can see, but it's because of how resistant, what is it? It's the corrosive, not corrosive.
So it's steel screws that you use to tumble it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Does that, were they brand new screws?
Yeah, so they were brand new screws, and it's pretty tough. So one of the reasons why I wasn't able to give it such a shine, and this is actually abrasive too when it comes out of the nozzle if you print with too much with it. Yeah.
Always be cautious, guys. Don't keep it heated for too long. It could ruin your your rust. And also,
but this is one of the processes they have to go when doing the rusting. So that's what we're going to try next after that. So I wanted to show what it looked like before you tumble, which is a nice little matte sort of color. And another interesting characteristic of this stuff is that it's actually lighter than the copper and the bronze fill. So that stuff is definitely, you can feel the weight on it. This is really light. I really like the weight on this. If you're looking for something that has metal particles in it, but it doesn't have the weight of it. So that's what we're going to try next, doing the rusting on this, and try to come up with some dual extruded projects that'll take advantage of it being able to play nice with magnets. This is no other filament that we have can do this. This is really cool.
All right.
So definitely cool tests coming up, and be on the lookout for that.
Let us know if you folks have any ideas on what you'd like to see using this material. So cool. Okay.
Very awesome. So that's what we've been testing on the material side.
Okay. Over the weekend, Pedro fixed up one of our original Replicator 1s, the MakerBot Replicator 1.
Yeah, so
we're having number 6000.
And we're having a lot of luck with the dual extrusion, and wanted to add or upgrade the printers that we've had before to make sure that they can also join in on the dual extrusion fun.
Yeah, you had an interesting point that we've had dual extrusion for as long as we've been into 3D printing. We've never really explored it too much. So we're just now getting into it, and it's really interesting how to not just combine colors, but combine different material attributes.
Yeah. So you hit play on that. When MakerBot gave replacement parts, we had a ton of parts that they sent. We just didn't have time to go ahead and install all those, so had a little bit of downtime, and really need to be able to print with multiple printers with the dual extrusion. So just took some of those, took a little bit of time, and upgraded the heated bed on there and the dual nozzles, so we can more efficiently test out projects that require dual extrusion. So very cool. Just a little shot of updating our old printers to join in some of the new fun that we were able to have.
Okay, next up, let's see this one. Tell us a little bit about this one.
Another cool new item that we got into the shop is this very cool Qi charger for lightning port devices. So your iPhone 6s, iPads that have the lightning port can now join in on the wireless charging fun. Very awesome little transmitter that goes along with that. And Becky has actually done a project on this in the past where it's a book charger. You can take a look at the learning system there.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is make this a little bit more compact and portable, make a nice little Chargito-esque wireless charger. And the very cool thing about this is that the USB port on the side there allows you to siphon off extra power out of there, so you can charge 2 devices at the same time. A cool little feature of that. So definitely pick this up if you're looking to upgrade one of your non-wireless devices to charge wirelessly.
Okay.
Very cool. And I really like the way that how thin that little guy is. So it doesn't add any extra thickness to it, just like a little sticker that goes on there. And just jump over to the overhead. We have the little lightning port that plugs into there, and the little sticker thing right here. And you say it's a super tiny little guy here.
Oh, cool! You can take it off too.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, actually, I'm just using double stick tape because I didn't want to take the tape off of that, but this will work as well.
Cool.
And it charges pretty fast. It's pretty cool. I really like it. And of course, the transmitters work with anything else that has the Qi charger already built in, like the Nexus tablet.
Okay.
It'll work on that. So I'm just going to make a cool little stand that is universal, so it'll fit a tablet or a phone. So really cool little project that you can work on there.
Cool.
Definitely check it out if you guys want to pick one up. 10% off. Use discount code ICOSAHEDRON.
All right. Well, that's going to be the Shop Talk segment. Thank you, Pedro. Let's go ahead and then take a look at the Q&A. That's the last segment, folks. This is where we answer your questions on YouTube, your YouTube questions. You want to jump into it?
Let's jump into questions.
J Dude. Hello, Adafruit. I want to make the Pi Girl instead of the Pocket Pi Girl, but but I want to know if I can make the Pi Girl with the Raspberry Pi 2. I want to follow your instructions for the Pi Girl that you have on the website. I don't want to do the Pocket Pi Girl because the screen is too small. All I need to know is if I can use the Raspberry Pi 2 to make the Pi Girl. If you would, please respond. That would be awesome. Of course, responding right now. So he's talking about the original Pocket, or the original Pi Girl that used the original Raspberry Pi Model B. If you guys remember the Model B, that's the one with the composite audio jack, and it has 2 mounting holes. It had these kind of 2 offsetted mounting holes. Of course, the new Raspberry Pi Model B2 and even the 8 Plus have 4 mounting holes now, so it unfortunately won't fit without a little bit of modifications. But you'll be in luck because there are some people that have already done that. So you can take a look at a couple different projects on Thingiverse. Here's one that we actually are sharing on the blog today. This one is really cool. It uses the Raspberry Pi 2 and a different screen, a bigger screen. It's not the Pi TFT, but it is using a couple components like the Power Boost 1000C. There aren't any instructions for this one, but you can sort of leverage our instructions and sort of go back and forth and see how you can put yours together. It's similar in the sense that it's pretty much the same build, different components, and a little bit of wiring change. But I think that should be enough, and it's a good challenge for you to check out. And there's a couple other ones too. It seems like every week there's a new like remix to it. So always be on the lookout for that.
Definitely check out our Thingiverse page, and under the remix section there are listed there all the other
so many great projects,
all the other derivatives of this.
Okay.
And the funny thing about this, though, is that he does mention that you are going to have to do a little bit of tweaking in there depending on the tolerance of your printer.
Of course,
so you're never going to get away with having to open up CAD and modify something inside there.
But he went all out. This one has way more buttons. It has like a really nice power switch and things. So check that out. It's on the blog.
Very good motivation to get into 3D modeling.
Of course. Okay,
Thanks
so I
for the
hope
question.
that answers your question. Thank you so much for that one. Dude. Next one, this was for Blue for Life Blue. Noe and Pedro, what has been the most challenging 3D project y'all had since working with Adafruit?
Okay,
good question.
The most challenging ones for me are always the giant projects, especially with something like 10-inch pie. This thing takes over 7 hours to print just the framing for this, so that's just this case here.
Yeah.
And what's so challenging about that is because of how the length of time, anything can go wrong with it. The filament can get caught, or the filament can get tangled up, the bed can get unleveled, power can go out or something. There's always something.
When you have a failed print of a big part and it's like 90% of it's good and the other 10 is bad, you really can't do much there. So that is the most challenging
one. The large projects. And then the most frustrating thing is all the software that it takes to produce, from the beginning all the way to the end. So down to the Finder crashing on you, the Photoshop, stopping to respond, Premiere, Fusion going crazy. So it's always software that always gets us.
Instagram.
Yeah, so that's probably the most challenging thing. It's not the actual project or getting it done. It's having the program or software not crash on you, which is the most challenging part.
For myself, the most challenging project so far is the one that's not done yet. I'm supposed to be I'm going to work on this project with Phil B. It's called the LED hula hoop, and it's pretty much like a ship in a bottle. Once you put stuff in, so we're using sort of this tubing, and getting components into the tubing is difficult because it's not just like a kid's hula hoop. This is a massive adult-sized hula hoop with a lot of LEDs, a lot of components, and it's just hard because testing for tolerances and things like that, not being able to get it out is very hard.
It's hard.
So that's the most challenging one I have so far.
Things that are moving around, you got to make sure lights don't.
It's got to be
components
durable.
aren't blocking light.
Exactly.
You got to make sure that everything's all nice.
So
and
designing
steady.
and constraints is very difficult. So those are our two.
The most challenging things.
Okay,
there.
but thanks for the question. Let's go on. Okay, this one's from Umar Rayo. I hope I'm saying that right. Sorry, Umar. Your question is: I have access to a 3D printer at my college. Should I buy my own? And if yes, which one would you recommend? I really like to build things as a computer engineering major.
Cool, yeah. So during exam time, you probably aren't going to have as much access to the printer as you'd like.
Personal experience here, Pedro.
Yeah,
when Pedro was in college, rendering farms and stuff in your classroom.
Yeah, everybody had one of the computers.
Slept underneath the desk, waiting for the
claiming
render?
for the computer, because rendering,
It could
I went
crash.
to school for 3D animation, and during exam time, that's when, especially, everybody who had, large texture files and things like that, there was just no way you were going to have access to that. So it's always good to invest in your own equipment so you can learn off and render that in your own time and not have to wait for some computer to be free.
Yeah, no dependencies.
School.
Yeah.
And another thing too is because schools can't upgrade as fast as you may be able to. They might have older printers or older computers, so that's always a plus.
Okay.
Go out and get your own. You can sometimes get newer things, and you get a student discount as well. So don't forget that. Take advantage of that.
Okay.
So it's always a good idea to invest in your own equipment.
I, of course, recommend the FlashForge Creator Pro. That was your question. And we've been using that, and we really are loving it. It's good price.
A lot of access to materials are able to mix together.
Out of the box,
quality,
stock.
yeah.
We didn't have to upgrade anything. And it works with NinjaFlex right out of the box. It works with all the metals. FlashForge Creator Pro, we're really working hard to get this in the shop for you guys at the end of the month. It's getting pretty close. So hopefully next week or the week following, we'll have the FlashForge in the shop. But I encourage you to check it out now. It's $11.99. Or was it $11.99? $11.50, something like that. So check it out. Thank you, Omar, and good luck in college. Cool. Okay, this one's from Kid Duino. I would like to have someone to say if my channel is good or bad. This is cool. So Kid Duino has his own YouTube channel, and he's doing projects. So let's take a quick look at his YouTube channel. So he has 2 Arduino projects right now. Pretty straightforward. It shows you the project, goes through what you need, and I think it's about like 4 minutes long or so. So it's pretty cool. Some tips I guess I have is you always want to have your project explained within the next, like within 5 seconds of the thing. Show it working, show it actually running, and then talk about if they're interested. It's like the eye grabber, right? And then show how you went to build it. But of course, you don't want to show like a 30-minute build of the thing. It's really nice to just sort of have an overview of how you built it and what it's used for, and then have a guide, a tutorial, maybe on Instructables or come on, Hackaday.io, definitely Hackaday.io. Have your projects hosted there, so you always have a step-by-step reference. So it's sort of like a trailer that accompanies the whole tutorial.
You always want to think of having what we call hero shots, which is a nice like photo or video little slide in of what it looks like completed, it operating within the first 5 seconds, like you said. So and again, make it like a trailer, so you can have them jump over to a fully written step-by-step guide if they really want to build this.
Yeah, have fun with it. Don't be too serious about it. Have fun with it, and that's all I can say really. But guys, if you have any, if you want to start making content and videos about your projects, share it with us, and we'll critique it on the show. Is that kind of what we did here? Okay, but cool. Definitely check out Kidduino. Keep it up. Very cool stuff. You're onto good things. You got to start somewhere, guys. So, okay. Next question. Thank you, Kidduino. You're subscribed, so we'll be watching you. Next one. This is from Archie Rojas. I'm a 15-year-old product designer student from the UK. I love 3D printing and your show ever since my school got a 3D printer last year, and now I'm about to buy my own. Very cool. So I have a question about CAD software. As a student, I can get all of the Autodesk products free for 3 years. I originally started using Autodesk Inventor, as said that's what my school used. Now when I began watching your show, I also installed 123 Design, which seemed much simpler. Now you use Fusion 360, and Autodesk has several other products out there such as Maya. What are the advantages or disadvantages of each, and is I can't read that last part. Is any one better than the others? Thanks, Archie. Yeah, this is a good question. It's really like you want to know. You want to have an arsenal, a new utility belt of modeling. We don't usually just stick with one app. We switch between them, and they all have different strengths and weaknesses. It's like using a camera lens. You can't just stick with one. You got to use the right lens for the right job. So it's the same thing with CAD.
Definitely got to get familiar with every single one of those, because there's always one thing that one program can do that the other one can't do.
Oh yeah.
Maybe it can do it, but not as efficiently as the other one. But
I have a good example of it. The D20, I still don't know how to model that in Fusion. Because of the sort of tool set that 123D has, I was able to tweak solids, faces without having to do too much messing around with this sketch-driven design. So 123D is really good for that. Maya is what we use for things like the horns, the LED horns, or even the unicorn horn. It's a really good mesh sort of modeling. Yeah, so you can do deformations, you can do linear deformers, all these cool sort of twisty, bendy type things, and it's a lot more flexible with that because you have polygons. Yeah. 123D and Fusion, and Inventor, they pretty much have the same engine, the same concepts, lofting, using sketches, extruding, all that stuff is about the same. So it's really good for mechanical designs and enclosures and things that have absolute sort of dimensions. So
you're always gonna need to know like as much CAD software as you can, because even with one of the last things I designed was a lid tray for the Ember printer. Yeah, I had to actually import the DFX files inside of Tinkercad because nothing else could parse the SVG file correctly. And this is with something like Maya, which cost I think like $8,000 when we bought it, couldn't even handle that. Fusion 360 couldn't handle it. 123D didn't know what to do with it. It was Tinkercad. So it's funny, and this is with not just modeling software. When we're doing like video production, we have to go through so many different programs just to get like an animation working, because After Effects can't do it a certain way. You have to jump into Maya to animate something. It's you're always going to need a workflow of different apps. You're always going to have to export to something else to to finish a simple, quick thing that no other program can do. So you're always going to need every single program at your arsenal to
some disadvantages of some disadvantages of Maya is the booleans aren't as good as the solid modeler.
Yeah. So when we started, and we started out in Maya because we used to do a lot of video games. So this is where we're coming from. A lot of the, like you were saying, the deformations and the animation stuff that we just can't do inside of Fusion. We had to first do inside of Maya, and then the Boolean, all that stuff, we had to bring it into 123D or Fusion to finish up the model. So there's always like these different steps of taking things into different programs to finish.
Another thing, Maya's not so well at shelling. There isn't a shell feature.
There's some plugins in, but again, it does not work as well.
Yeah, any of the solid modeling tools like 123D or Fusion will let you do some nice shelling. Okay, but we can go down a long list of things. But
learn everything you can.
Learn everything you can.
Works. Figure out what can do what.
Yeah, you'll learn the disadvantages as you sort of use them, and you'll pick the right one. But definitely awesome, Archie. Thank you so much for the questions. A nice long one there, and good luck in your next year of school. Yeah, cool. Okay, this one's from The Rage Control. Please explain slicers. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with these slicers or the purpose of slicers. No one is doing anything except settings explanations for the prints. But what about the model? How do I clean it up? Why does it look so bad? Also, the link for the Orion Cure profile on GitHub isn't working. Okay, well, real quick, we had to clean up the URLs on our profile. So if you look again, it is updated and it is there. I'll also have the link for you guys in the description. So as far as slicing, yeah, right. A lot of people don't talk about what they're slicing; they just sort of assume. I have here. We don't have a video yet ourselves, but I do want to show you a video from Tom, who has he does 3D printing guides on his YouTube channel. Definitely check him out. He did a nice video, I think a year ago. Yeah, exactly a year ago. On setting up slicers, some of the settings, why you would want to use these slicers, and what they do. Yeah. But I think we're going to come out with we're going to try to do some quick tip videos in the coming months where we do talk a little bit more about slicing and things that go in the background. But yeah, definitely check that one out. It is linked in the description as well, and of course subscribe to Thomas. Very cool stuff. Okay, thank you for the question though. Next one is going to be the last question. This is from Alvario. Since you guys have a ton of 3D printing filaments, is there one that conducts heat well, or do they all feel like plastic? I would like to make a 3D printed cold sink that can be used for the Peltier devices you have on the store.
So one that transfers heat pretty well is the copper and bronze.
Yeah, all the metal stuff.
But then again, if you're going to be heating this up, it's going to start melting at around like 80, 90 degrees.
That's right.
It's just going to be liquid at 190. So and not really recommended for anything.
Like a heat sink? Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Remember, these are all plastics. At the end of the day, like they can have the feel or the smell or a little bit of the attributes, but it's still plastic.
At the end of the day, the plastic is the binder that's holding all that stuff together.
You're right.
So not really recommend.
Wouldn't recommend it, yeah. But cool idea though.
That's going to be it for this week's questions. Remember, if you have any questions, just leave them on any of the videos, and we will answer them in a future show.
Cool. Again, we want to remind you guys,
1 year.
1 year celebration. We have the special coupon code still. Excuse me.
10% off.
Thank you.
Enter discount code ICOSAHEDRON.
ICOSAHEDRON. Yep.
Get yourself a very awesome 3D printer, filaments, and of course all of the electronic components that bring your projects to life.
Okay. I'm trying to click on things. Hopefully this works. Hopefully we're not upside down. Yay, we got it. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching again. Thanks for watching.
We are here every week.
We'll be here next week.
Every week we have a cool new project for you guys.
Next week will be Pedro's Pi 2 desktop.
Yeah, so definitely be on the lookout for that. Very cool. You can go ahead and pick up the parts now if you want to get started before all the files are released.
This is on Thingiverse, so check it out if you have your dual extruder. We really want this to be sort of like the sort of go-to calibrator test for dual extruders. It'd be really cool, guys, because it's a really fun thing. You can play with it and roll around. Gavin seems to like throwing it around.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, thank you so much again. I'll leave you off with some links and things. I almost forgot about that. How do you like that? There you go. Wait. Sorry, folks. Bear with me. It's a year, man. You think I'd figure this out. Okay, so we got some links for you. Okay, so the learning system, that's where all the tutorials are. There's a lot of cool tutorials coming out all the time. Google Hangout is every Wednesday. You can hang out with us. We'll do a show and tell thing. And then 3D Thursday, we have a bunch of different stories up on the blog, sharing community projects. And then follow myself and Pedro and Adafruit on Instagram. We've got a lot of cool things there.
Yep.
And then, of course, we want you to check out all the other shows, starting off with Wearable Electronics with Becky Stern. She has a show every Wednesday at 2 p.m. A lot of cool things. Wearable, sort of fashion-forward projects, combining wearable electronics.
Premium fashion.
Yeah,
Very
cool
awesome.
stuff.
Always a lot of cool techniques.
Yep, she just celebrated
2 years.
2 years, longest running, best ever wearable show. Okay, and then after that is the show and tell that we just talked about every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. You can talk with Lamar and Phil, share your projects, share your retro gear, share.
Come on the
Share,
show, say hi.
Say hi.
Show off your 3D printed awesomeness.
Yeah, and retro gear. Okay, and then Ask Engineer is right after that at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, where you can ask your Arduino Raspberry Pi questions, open source,
Full hour.
For our stuff.
Jam-packed electronics.
Oh yeah, and new products, so you get to see the new products. All right, folks, that's going to be it for us. Again, thank you so much for watching. I guess we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, looking forward to another year.
Looking forward to another year.
Awesome projects.
That's great. All right, guys, thanks again.
See you next
We'll
time.
see you guys next time.